Cheers to you, everybody. 'Tis the drinker here, and bottoms up, everyone. And for once, when I'm doing these things, I'm not late and gay. I'm on time and straight. I suppose you should start by saying Happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends. I hope you had a lovely time on Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday. Anyway, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and yeah, you didn't fall out with too many family members. Maybe someone can help me with this, like because we're getting into like the festive season now. Um, what the fuck is eggnog? I've I've literally never drunk that stuff in my life, but it seems to be a real thing in America. I don't think you can even buy it here in the UK. Based on what's in it, I don't really feel like I want to drink it. Like, does it not have like like powdered or sugared milk or something, like sweetened milk and egg whites and weird shit like that? I'm gonna wait for chat to fill me in on this one. It's Rand's little toe says it's nasty. Don't bother. Yeah, it sounds awful. I don't know why people drink it. Let's see. Um, really? Oh, okay. Well, that sad eggnog is awesome. Well, split opinion here in the chat here. There was someone else asking me for my opinion about Lost. Oh yeah, I'll take a break from this eggnog chat just for a second, and I'll answer this question. So, uh, yeah, Cudge the Wise says I'm hungover as fuck, and I want to know what you think about Lost. I think it was a great show when it started for the first three seasons, probably. Fantastic premise. I think it really built on the whole mystery aspect, and yeah, some great character moments. Like I shared this on Twitter just recently, like the scene where Mr. Echo kind of confesses his sins and refuses to repent, even though he's done bad things in his life, because he acknowledges that those were things he needed to do to survive. Knowing that he's probably going to die, these are his final moments. I thought that was a fucking awesome scene. Great acting, great music, great direction. Stuff like that was awesome. The show completely fell apart towards the end, which is really sad, but it's the way these things go sometimes, unfortunately. It's really weird that the showrunners claimed that they knew how they wanted to start it and they knew how they wanted everything to end. They just could fill in as much as they wanted in between just to keep it going and pad it out, basically. And you think if they knew how they wanted to end it, it would have a really good ending, but it absolutely didn't. So yeah, fuck, man, it wasn't a show that lived up to its premise, sadly. But hey, it was absolutely gripping the first few seasons. Fucking everyone was talking about Lost. And yeah, I'm that old that I remember it at the time. Oh yeah, so this is another one. Aaron Blanchy says, any take on the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? No, I've seen it advertised on Disney Plus, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'm intrigued. But is it James Gunn who's directing this? Hopefully it is, and if it is him, then it'll probably be alright, because damn, that dude's gone up in my estimation a little bit in recent times. You know, he's had some questionable takes on Twitter, and you know, he's obviously had to pay the price for that a little bit, but man, he directs good films. I'll give him his due. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, I remember this. Jojo Joestar, you had a tweet about why no appearance of the Uzi anymore compared to 80s and 90s movies. Yeah, Uzis. They were fucking everywhere in the 80s and the 90s. Like every submachine gun was either an Uzi or an MP5. And the Uzi just somehow had the coolness factor. I don't know if it was because the Terminator used one in that nightclub shootout. Arnold used it again in Commando. It was always kind of there. It just looked good. But a lot of people replied to my tweet saying, yeah, but it handled like ass and it was just all recoil and yeah, it was just kind of a shitty gun and it just got supplanted by other, better, newer stuff. So I guess that's the reason, ultimately. The design of the Uzi, I think, date back to the 1960s, maybe even the 50s, the late 50s. So old as fuck gun, and I guess eventually they just get supplanted by stuff that's newer and better designed. But yeah. All right, RMF says I watched it. It was garbage. So this is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I take it it's designed to be deliberately cheesy as fuck, like the Star Wars holiday special. Like it's a spoof on that. That's a shame. Um, yeah, what's your take on Mad Max Fury Road? I liked it overall. In terms of like the action set pieces, the cinematography for it, the stunt work, all incredible. Fantastic movie. I think the fact that the director, they got back this guy who was like in his 70s or something by this point, who directed the original Mad Max movies, and it's like, yeah, just you want to do another one, and he came back and just absolutely knocked it out the park. I know people, they shit on it a little bit because it's kind of like Furiosa's movie rather than Max's, and yeah, he doesn't really have much of an arc in it. She's the real narrative focus, which is, it's a fair criticism, I think, but then in a lot of the movies, apart from the first one, like Max was kind of just an observer in the dramas that were playing out. Like if you look at Mad Max 2, the real heart of the story was the group of survivors that he was reluctantly helping. Same with the Beyond Thunderdome. The real meat of the story was about those kids who were stranded on the crashed plane, and eventually had to find a safe place to live out their lives. Max was there to kind of facilitate that. So I don't mind that too much. But yeah, it was weird just like suddenly having a different actor playing Max, and you don't really know where this sits in the chronology of the series, and it was just this like thing that wasn't even remarked upon. So it was a bit of a weird one. Yeah, here. Oh, this is a very pertinent question, actually. Are you making a video on Andor? It's the only decent Disney show that I've seen since The Mandalorian. Yes, so I'd taken a break from Andor because I was watching like Rings of Power and She-Hulk and House of the Dragon. Two of those things were really good. Oh, sorry, no, one of those things was really good. The other two were absolute garbage. But now that that's all finished, yeah, I'm getting right back into Andor. So I'm about halfway through it, and yeah, I'm going to watch more of it after this stream. But I'm looking forward to reviewing it because yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars show. It doesn't feel like it's got that Star Wars grandeur to it. But maybe that's a good thing. It's a kind of down and dirty, almost like low level thing about like how people in the day to day, grind of life get through under the Empire, and like who's going to choose to join the rebellion, what their lives are like, all that sort of thing. And it's a slow burn for sure, but like it's a thorough kind of show. There's a lot of care that's gone into making it, so it's going to be an interesting one to talk about. I don't dislike it at this point, which is really strange for a Disney Star Wars product. But it's ironic that it's probably the best thing that they're going to make, and fucking nobody seems to be watching it. But hey, I'll give it a fair review. If as long as it maintains that level of quality that I've been seeing so far, I think it's probably going to get a good review from me, believe it or not. So yeah, I want to give it a fair shake, I suppose. Just give me 1 second, because I know there's super chats come in and I don't want to miss any, so I'm just bringing up the list. Oh, there was another one. Sorry, that wasn't the one. What's up? Sure enough. Yeah. What is up? Well, this show is what's up. It's a Sunday night and it's raining in Scotland, so what's not to like? But yeah, someone was asking me as well, would Basic Instinct 2 have been a better movie with a different lead actress? I mean, not really. Like, man, Sharon Stone still had it. Even though she was old as fuck when she did that second movie, I think, she could still kind of pull it off. And she was obviously meant to be like an older version of the character. To this day, I don't really understand why they bothered making a Basic Instinct 2. Like, it didn't seem like the kind of film that I wanted to have a follow-up to. It felt like a little bit of a cash-in. But man, credit to her for doing the nude scenes like when she was like 50 years old. There's not many actresses that'd be willing to do that shit. So, yeah, fair play. Just 1 second here. Another one. Yeah, how do I feel about Interstellar from Slade Mathis? So, uh, It's a Nolan sci-fi movie, which means it's very heavy on the theory. Um, it makes space travel look fucking awful and terrifying. Like, who the fuck would want to fly like near a gigantic black hole and live on a planet near one of them? That just seems like you're courting trouble. There's a lot of crazy concepts like the water planet, where it's like it's got an ocean which is only like 3 feet deep across the entire surface, and so you've got these insane tidal waves that just wash over it every like few hours. Just like interesting concepts like that. And all the time dilation thing is another, a crazy aspect to it, which is apparently quite grounded in science. The gravitational pull of a black hole accelerates you so much that time slows down for you versus the rest of the universe, which is passing normally. So, yeah, all that stuff is fascinating, but no one's problem is tying it all together with really like likable human characters, which it starts to lose it a little bit with Interstellar, and yeah, the ending is just complete ass. Like, I don't know why they went for an ending like that. It really felt like contrived as fuck. It was just a complete Deus Ex Machina to resolve everything. Didn't like it as far as endings go. But yeah, first like 2/3 of the movie were great. Really interesting stuff. Um, yeah, interesting about Avatar because I did a video about this just the other day. Um, it's weird. I find myself in this position where I want it to do really well. In fact, I want it to just blow all the Marvel movies out of the water and just make like 2.5 billion or $3 billion, like break the records. But I also don't think it's gonna, and that's the unfortunate position that they're in for all the reasons that I said in my video, like the spectacle and the novelty of the original movie that doesn't exist anymore. We've had spectacle for 10 years now in dozens of movies, so that's not remarkable anymore. I don't think the world of Avatar, like the world of Pandora, is so interesting that I want to explore more of it. Like, it's visually fantastic, but it doesn't strike me as a very interesting place, and none of the characters are particularly interesting. I think Avatar, the original, was just a movie that it was all sold on the novelty of it and the spectacle of it. But there wasn't the narrative depth, and there wasn't the characters that kept me interested in it. And like I said in my video, um, I would happily go back and rewatch Aliens, or I'd go back and rewatch The Abyss, or I would rewatch Terminator 2 any day of the fucking week. I'd even rewatch True Lies. All just great fun movies that just keep giving. But I never felt that way about Avatar. I never felt compelled to go back to it and rewatch it. So maybe I'm in the minority here, but it just feels like that magic is going to be lost this time around. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'll be an event and it'll easily make $1 billion. I suspect it'll probably top out at 1.5, which is bad news for Cameron. If that interview was anything to go by, he's needing it to make at least 2 billion to break even and fund the other movies in the series. I just don't think it's going to make it. Particularly the fact that everyone's kind of hard for cash at the moment, and you know, people just aren't going to the cinema in the numbers that they used to. Not right now, anyway, because like the economy's shit. So yeah, my position on it is I hope it does really well. I just don't think it will. So there we are. But yeah, I've still got a bit of faith in James Cameron as a filmmaker. I mean, Christ, man, the guy's pulled off some of the most incredible films in cinematic history. Even Titanic, I fucking love that film. As a disaster movie, it's fantastic. You could probably skip the first like hour and a half of it. Just get to the bit with the iceberg, and then you're all golden, man. Okay, yeah. Next one. ADHD says, "Ever seen Umbrella Academy?" Yes, I have. Well, I've seen the first two seasons. First season I really liked. Really inventive, really different. Very quirky, very interesting kind of show. Reminded me a bit of Legion season one. So I like that. Season two, oh man, I was starting to feel the message getting preached a little bit with season two. It was yeah, like suddenly you know Vanya is gay, and she's living in the 1950s in the South in America. And oh wow, wouldn't you know it? The housewife that she's boarding with is also gay secretly, and she can't talk about it, but she falls in love with her. And yeah, um, I think Luther um, starts dating a black woman who's into the civil rights movement, and they start preaching about that, and it's all just a bit too heavy-handed. And from what I've heard, season three kind of continues that trend. So yeah, I just kind of lost interest after that. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying the message. Let me do a few of these super chats as well because I've been just conversing with chats here like an absolute madman. But I need to do a few of these before they build up too much because this shit gets out of hand real fast. Believe me. Artur Kulikov says, Drinker, you're loquacious hypothesizer. I'm afraid your criticism of this movie is totally invalid. How you destroyed this argument for Midsummer was majestic. Cheers, brother. Thanks for that, man. Yeah, that was weird. That's one of the only times in my career as a YouTuber that I made a follow-up video, but it felt like an interesting opportunity to explore that whole this idea of themes over substance. Yeah, it's got such interesting themes. It's like, well, okay, great, but if the execution's garbage, then it's still a bad movie. So that was an interesting opportunity to talk about that shit. So thank you. I'm glad you appreciated it. Yeah, it was funny talking with Emily Booth the other night because she named Midsummer as one of her favorite horror films, and I was like, don't do it, drink it, don't bite. Next one is Fridge, who says, "Just wanted to say thank you. Had a few drinks, but really keep it up, bro. Thank you, man. And yeah, enjoy a few beers while we do this. It's the best way to enjoy fucking YouTube or anything in life, really." Roger Borg says, "Emily Booth, damn or damn." Well, both really. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to her. What can I say? Kevin Thompson says, "Hello, long-time lurker, first-time asker. Question for the sexiest critic in my feed. Well, guilty as charged, what can I say? Are you a Criterion Collection fan?" I am not, I'm afraid. Yeah, wait, actually, is that what I think it is? Let me just check. Criterion. Okay, so it's like Criterion, just like a film studio. All right, cool. So it's an American home video distribution company that focuses on licensing important classic contemporary films. Okay, so like, yeah, these are like artistically worthy movies. Yeah, so I don't have a Criterion collection, but I'm sure if I was to look through their catalog of stuff, like there'd be a lot of films that I recognize. I would hope anyway. Christ. I need to educate myself even more on the classics, like especially in the era that we live in now of cinema. Yeah, the more good old films that I can try and like raise awareness of, the better. Spencer Bacon says, "A high drinker, how are you feeling about Doctor Who after Whittaker and Chibi are gone?" I mean, better, but it's still ultimately run by the BBC, so yeah, it's like it's not going to get that much better. I I have to confess, like when David Tennant appeared, I did feel a little thrill of happiness, like oh thank God, like nature is healing and all that. But I can't shake the feeling as well that it's like a bit of a cynical ploy. Like this is the shiniest key that we could find to dangle in front of you. Like you remember David Tennant, don't you? You remember him? Get excited for a little while, and then we're gonna bring in the new Doctor, and then we're gonna hit you with it. But yeah, man, what can I say? I mean. You've got Russell T Davies returning. You've got David Tennant back for like a 3 episode special arc or whatever. I think people are just gonna like sign petitions and stuff saying like just force David Tennant to stay. Like forget the new Doctor, just make him be the Doctor for like the rest of his career, because that's what people want, man. What can I say? Um, Yeah, I don't think people are going to look back fondly on this era of Doctor Who. Like the 13th Doctor, fucking lucky 13, man. I tell you. Not good. Oh yeah, thank you. Congratulations on reaching 1.5 million subscribers. That's quite a lot, isn't it? That's yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling. You get beyond a certain point with YouTube, and your brain can't really wrap itself around like that number of people. It's like, okay, 1.5 million people are subscribed to my channel, and my first reaction is always, why? What are you getting out of it? But I don't know, man. I guess I must be doing something right, but yeah, it's a really good feeling. It's nice to know that people are enjoying what I'm making, you know? So, yeah, thank you very much. Next super chat was. Yeah, the real McCoy says, "Is there any drink that you don't like at all?" There's a couple. Yeah, I hate sambuca because I hate the taste of aniseed or licorice. So sambuca is right the fuck out for me, and I've had some bad experiences with that as well. Like, I don't like that taste already, and it always seems to get brought out at that point in a night out where you're like, I'm on the verge of spewing, but I'm probably going to be all right if I just have another pint or two. But then some fucking asshole in your group says, "Hey, let's do shots of sambuca, everyone," and then they bring out this fucking tray, and of course you can't be the weak link in the group, so you got to do it, and then yeah, bad things usually result from that. So yeah, I hate that stuff. And yeah, one of the only other drinks, Advocaat, I think I fucking hate, because is that not like banana flavored or something? Like, oh, that stuff's bad. That's rotten. And also, a friend of mine went out to China on a lovely holiday, brought back several bottles of Chinese moonshine. He says this stuff's great. Apparently, the locals swear by it, and it was like they doesn't even have a proper top on it. It was just like a cork sealed with wax. That was all they had. And he's like, right, let's try it. So uncorked it, and it was like someone opened the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones, man. It was like fucking evil spirits just came flying out. The smell was like something had died inside that bottle, something evil. Yeah, and like we all had like I managed like one sip of it, and I just thought, nope, my whole body's rebelling against this. If I have any more, I'm gonna spew my guts out. So we poured it down the sink, and I swear that sink was just belching up these fumes from that for like days on end. Like even after running the tap and like putting all kinds of like cleaning shit down it, it still stank. And it wasn't even my house as well; it was my mate's house. So yeah, that's the short list of things that I fucking hate to drink. Next one is Joel, who says, "Who are you rooting for in the World Cup?" I mean, this is a tough one, right? Because obviously Scotland aren't in it because we fucking can't qualify for anything. And I kind of fall into that camp of like, okay, England's like the closest neighbour, so I should probably root for them. So you know, I'm half-heartedly cheering them on. You know, if they get put out, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But if they also won, I'd be like, yes, okay, well done, fellas, well done. It just, man, I don't know what to say about this World Cup. It feels weird as fuck because I am so used to watching World Cup games in the summertime in like a beer tent or like an outdoor, a beer garden or something in a pub. Like someone will have rigged up like a big projector to play the game on. And it's great. Like it's just such a nice way to spend your summer. But when it's getting held in the wintertime, it just feels weird. It's like it's surreal. It's like it's not really happening, you know? And I don't feel as compelled to watch it. So, yeah, I don't know if other people have felt the same way, but yeah, I've not liked it. I don't know why you would choose to host your World Cup in a fucking Middle Eastern country where the temperature is like 500 degrees Celsius every day. Yeah, it's daft. You know, do it in somewhere temperate where you can actually host it in the summer. Next is Rocket the Raccoon, who says, "What's your opinion on Andor, and do you think more Star Wars shows should trend towards the gritty style of Andor and then have the movies be more spectacle with good story, of course?" Yeah, I tend to agree with that sentiment, actually. You know, the whole point and the whole advantage of a TV show is that you've got the time and the space to explore characters, which means you don't need to rely on spectacle to hook people in. You need to write really good, interesting characters, put them in situations, and have the audience get invested in it. You know, look at something like, well, look at House of the Dragon that we've all been gushing over recently. You know, there's episode after episode where not a huge amount of spectacle happens, but it's important stuff going on. Like there's political maneuverings, there's characters making decisions that are going to have big ramifications later. You know, that's important, but it all relied on the writers creating characters that we care about as an audience. And so when they do that, it all comes together. And so that's the advantage of TV. You've got the time to create all of these things and you've got the time to lay that groundwork slowly. Andor understands this. The thing is, we're so used to Star Wars TV shows where it's just episodic stuff like The Mandalorian, where like there's just a little tiny mini adventure that's easy to digest every week and it doesn't really require you to think about anything, and you know, that's all you need. This is a different beast. It's an overarching story. Like each episode is significant, but it builds towards something bigger. That's different from what Star Wars has been doing up until now. So I'd very much be in favor of like lower level, more restrained stuff in the TV shows, and then save the spectacle for the movies. That's the space opera stuff, you know. Um, yeah. So that's my opinion there. I agree with your sentiment basically. Charles Cauldron says, "You've guested on a ton of other people's live streams over the years. No need to name names. I know you're too much of a gentleman to throw anyone under the bus, but have you ever hopped on one and instantly regretted it?" Not really, no. There's never been one that I've gone on and thought, "Oh shit, I want to bail out of this." Yeah, the worst I can say is just like, um, you know, you get to that point where you feel like, I've been on here for like several hours, maybe I'm getting a bit tired or whatever, and you know, you start to tune out of the conversation a little bit. And it happens particularly when you go into American live streams because, like, over here in the UK, we're 5 hours ahead. And, you know, it might be that, you know, for them it's just like early evening, but for you it's like 2 in the morning or something. And particularly if you've been drinking for a few hours, yeah, you do get to that point where you feel like, oh, yeah, I kind of want to bail out now. That's why, you know, it happens for me sometimes. Like if I'm on Friday Night Tights or something like that, I'm on for a few hours and then I'll probably make my excuses and leave. And it's not because I'm not enjoying myself. It's just I'm fucking tired and I just want to go to bed. Maybe that's part of getting old. I don't know. Um, yeah, there was one. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but there was like, yeah, one guy who had me on, and it was a really small channel, like you know, a couple hundred subscribers. But I just, you know, he got in touch, and I just wanted to do him a favor, and so I says, yeah, I'll guest on and I'll do an interview. And so I came on, and then his intro lasted for a good 5 minutes. It was just music playing, and I don't know fucking why he does that. But it's like you'd think he would want to get right down to it as quickly as possible. But no, I had like a 5 minute intro sequence playing of just music and like a brief animated background that just kept looping. And like I could see the chat and people were just getting pissed off. Like, is this ever going to start? What the hell is this? And it just made me, you know, we had a perfectly fine interview afterwards, but I just thought, why would you choose to do that? I think it's just such a strange decision. Anyway, next one. Um, Mull123 says, get Shad on a live stream. Yes. I mean, I've had him on before. We did a happy hour before. And yeah, we talked about doing an open bar. The problem with him is he's in fucking Australia, so like I understand the time zones in America fairly well. Australia is just this whole other world where I'm like, nope, it could be like fucking 11 o'clock for you guys. I don't know. It's like I can guarantee it'll be just completely wrong for whatever we're doing. Like if it's early evening for us or whatever, it'll be like, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning for Shad. Yeah, so it's a bit of a tough one to get him on, but it's a shame because he's so entertaining. Like he's really funny. He's really like, you know, effusive about everything. Particularly if you start talking to him about medieval weapons, he fucking loves it. So you know, it's great to have him on. It's just really difficult to get him too. Um, Jeff Peterson said, "Have you seen the movie The Drop? It's with Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini's last movie, I think. It's no Rings of Power, of course. Well, I mean, what is, you know? Yeah, James Gandolfini. God, I remember him. God, obviously he did like The Sopranos and stuff, but there was a one that he did. Oh, sorry, I will get back to the point. Actually, I'll talk about The Drop. Yeah, haven't seen The Drop. I don't think. The name's familiar though. But I always remember James Gandolfini like an early role for him in Crimson Tide, where he was like one of the officers aboard the submarine. That was a great movie as well. And The Last Castle with Robert Redford. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but that is a really fucking good movie. Where Robert Redford is like he gets sent to a military prison because he's like a general or something like that, and he's been court-martialed for gross misconduct. He got quite a few of his men killed, and he's serving out his sentence in prison. And the warden's just an absolute sadistic asshole, like James Gandolfini, and he ends up like kind of going to war with him almost. But yeah, it's got a great kind of build up, and yeah, like a prisoner revolution scene and stuff, and yeah, a really good ending. So I really liked it. I must talk about that sometime. Actually, it just totally came back into my head. Um, Next one. Dan says, "Do you think Madame Web is going to be good, even though the Morbius writers wrote the screenplay and the rumor plot is similar to Terminator One?" I know absolutely nothing about Madame Web. Let me just bring it up here, and I'll give you my 10,000 foot opinion on it. So, right, so she's a clairvoyant and a precognitive mutant who first showed up in Spider-Man to help Spider-Man find a kidnap victim. She was not one of the mutants that lost their power in the Decimation storyline. She was attacked by whatever. Uh, okay. Right, so Dakota Johnson will play Madame Web in an upcoming solo film set in Sony's Spider-Man universe. Oh, the Spider-Man universe. I mean, I like the idea of like someone who can predict the future and stuff, and like, well, can you actually influence it, or is it just gonna, is it gonna play out regardless of what you do, or perhaps because of what you do to try and change it? Who knows? Um, but yeah, I don't know much about the upcoming movie. But I must admit, I'm kind of intrigued by the whole like Spider-Man universe thing. That they've got going on at Sony, because anything that can kind of pull Spider-Man away from Marvel, I'm fully in favor of. I don't think Venom's necessarily the opponent that he needs, because that feels like a weird crossover. And yeah, man, I've said this before about the Venom films. Like, I've seen two of them now. I can't tell you a single fucking thing about them. It's like I watch them and then I immediately forget about them as soon as I leave the movie theater. It's weird. Never had a film do that to me before, but they're just so fucking like forgettable. Yeah, do a drink and recommend in the Last Castle. Probably it would be an extra shots on my second channel. That's probably a good spot for it. But yeah, I'd love to talk about that. Someone emailed me today talking about Equilibrium as well, and I know loads of people have asked me about it in the past on various live streams. And yeah, I want to do an extra shots on that because, again, another good film and an interesting one to talk about. You know, how much of your humanity would you trade in for safety instead of freedom? That's an interesting question in today's world, let me tell you. Especially over the past couple of years. So, yeah, that could be an interesting one to talk about. You want to know a real forgetful movie? Battleship with Rihanna. Ah, Rihanna and her forehead were fantastic in that movie. So the thing is, I remember Battleship. I remember it for being so fucking goofy and so stupid. But it almost crosses that threshold to somehow become awesome because of it. I mean, where else are you going to see a World War II battleship going into battle against an alien water-based invasion force? You're just not going to see it. And it was all just about getting that ship firing its main guns. And what's not to like about that? An Iowa class battleship letting loose with its main armament. That's orgasm right there. That's a gungasm. But yeah, it's not forgettable, but it is kind of shit, but also awesome at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. Um, Next one is. Oh, sorry, it's slow here. Yeah, Claudia Rogajan, who says, realized over the past weeks that Black Adam was a pretty crap film. They tried to make him sound like a villain, but he isn't at all. Should have been a villain. They should have at least committed to it a bit more. Like I say, I don't know how much of this was down to The Rock saying, "Well, I can't tarnish my brand image too much by being an out and out bad guy." But yeah, like play him more like Hancock, like that Will Smith movie. That was where they could actually have a bit of fun with it, and he wasn't afraid to like fucking hurt people. Yeah, that would have been a better way of doing it. But it just felt a bit too restrained. They were just trying to be too nice. They were trying to be too safe. But I think the potential was there with Black Adam. But yeah, apparently it's ultimately been a bit of a flop, really. So yeah, who knows what that means for DC going forwards? It's just another. It's another like step in the road of like DC's relentless march towards fucking oblivion. Like I don't know what they're doing. They'll get a new. They'll probably get a new like studio head in the next year or two, and he'll completely reverse course on everything. You know, I do at least I approve of what Zaslav has done. You know, he's come in and he's basically said, "Yeah, this is garbage. Batgirl garbage. Supergirl garbage. Fucking kill it." He needs to then start producing hits. You know, it's one thing to kill shit projects that are going to lose you money. Fine, but you got to replace them with something good, and that's where the test is going to, that's where the real test is going to be. And he hasn't done it yet. Yeah, James Gunn. So yeah, that's I guess their secret weapon. I mean, he proved with something like the Suicide Squad that he can do successful movies. Like I think it did pretty well financially, and it was a fun movie. Like it was genuinely funny. He was able to then follow that up with The Punisher. Sorry, no, the fucking what is it called? God damn it! Why can I not remember? Whatever that one was with John Cena. It was fun, and they kept the irreverent tone. Like that's what you need for DC. As much as Marvel is just like very politically correct. It's always about towing the line and pushing the message. Like DC could be the edgy, fun, irreverent alternative to that if James Gunn gets his way. And I think at this point, yeah, go with it. And get fucking Henry Cavill in to do his Superman movie. Get as many movies out of him as you can before he ages out of the role, because yeah, he has been an absolute star in waiting for years now. Like it's about time he got his chance. Peacemaker, that was it. Yeah, I kept calling it like the Punisher. This Peacemaker. Yeah, thank you very much, chat. I appreciate you. I love you all. Thank you. It's like whenever I forget shit because I'm too drunk, like you guys are always there to like pick up the slack. So appreciate it. SP O'Neill says, Drinker, what happened to gear porn in movies and television shows? Engage rant boss mode. Cheers. Well, wouldn't you know, I actually have a script in the works for that. I don't know if I'll make it like a why modern movies suck thing, but it was kind of focused on the Marvel movies and like the Iron Man suit and stuff, how it turned from this really awesome like mechanical thing where you got to see all the working parts and how it was developed and all the awesome stuff that goes with it. Gear porn, like Paul Chatto has been talking about recently, to like this ridiculous nano suit that's just like a big fucking cloud that forms around you. It's like a second skin. People don't care about that. They care about grounded technology that they can understand, and that was what made the first Iron Man movie so awesome. And we've kind of lost that because there's this idea of like, well, we have to appeal to all audiences, and particularly a modern audience. And they don't like mechanical things. They don't like engineering. They don't like technology. Yeah, they fucking do. That's why they watch films like this. So yeah, I will do a rant like that very soon. Believe that. Next one is Casey Boyd, who says, have you seen The Man Who Knew Too Little? I thought it was well written and super underrated Bill Murray movie. A great spy parody, dry but funny. I feel like I have seen it. It's been a while. But yeah, I remember it being pretty funny. Like I don't think it was one of his best or anything, but yeah, from recollection, it was all right. You know, I've got a bit of a rocky history with Bill Murray. On the one hand, like I appreciate a lot of his early stuff, you know, and like the sort of natural comedic flair that he has. Like he's tough to beat when it comes to that sort of thing. But man, he seems like an absolute asshole in real life. And the amount of like projects he's derailed and the problems he's caused, it's tough, man. It really is. Alex F says we'll give Andor a try. Well, do like I say, I'm getting back into it now. I'm gonna finish the series and give a proper review on it because I want to be fair to it, and hopefully it's gonna be good. Um, yeah, at the very least, it's way. If you're gonna pick any Star Wars TV show to watch this over, Boba Fett or The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan or any of that garbage. Like this is probably the best that they've made, for what it's worth. I know that's not a high bar. Master of Puppets says, Hail Drinker, have you considered doing a happy hour on Dread? A good one with Carl Urban. Congrats on your Kickstarter and the plushie. Yeah, thank you, man. And yeah, I've already done a Drinker Recommends on Dread. Like, I love it. I think it's a fantastic movie. I'm so pissed off that it didn't do well financially. Yeah, Carl Urban was perfect as Dread. The fact that he never took his helmet off, great. Pretty simplistic story. It's just the raid, but in like Mega City 1. That's all you need. Dredd just kills a bunch of people and eventually takes down the evil bad guy. Great. That was more than enough. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the marketing was shit on it or something. Like I know there was shenanigans going on behind the scenes, but yeah, I would have loved to have seen a sequel. But for what it was great. And yeah, for the plushie and the Kickstarter, yes, thank you. It's been unfortunate, really, that everything that I've been working on recently has all come to like fruition pretty much at the same time. It was like the movie. Okay, we're going to launch the Kickstarter for that. That was incredibly successful. It's like we asked for 20 grand and we got 300 grand. It's ridiculous. But it's going to allow us to do amazing stuff. So, like, hopefully, we're going to end up with a really good end product. So, that's been amazing. The comic book that I was working on, which originally was going to launch in the summer, but then they had a bunch of other stuff they wanted to do first. That got pushed back to like basically the same time as the movie, and so I was then trying to launch the Indiegogo for that, for the Rambo comic that I did, which was great. That was my first ever experience of writing a comic book. So that was good fun as well. But then it means another thing that I'm trying to launch, and then the plushie as well. It's like, yeah, we're going to do a second run of the Critical Drinker plushies right at the same time. So it's a tough one because I feel like people are probably getting bombarded with me saying like, oh, hey, spend more of your hard-earned cash on stuff that I've done. But if I'd had my way, I would have spread things out a little bit more. But that's just how it goes sometimes, unfortunately. But hey, man, like the response to all of these things has been fantastic, and you know joking aside, like I genuinely appreciate how generous people have been, and how much faith they've shown in what I'm doing and what we're trying to produce. And I can only say to you, like, yeah, I'm giving it my absolute all to produce the best end products that I can for people. And damn, it keeps me busy. That's for sure. I'll say that. But it's a good kind of busy. These are good problems to have. Also from Florian Kazmaj says, have you watched Mr. Robot? If so, what's your thoughts on the cinematography and storytelling, especially the aspect of the unreliable narrator? So, no, I haven't seen Mr. Robot, I'm afraid. A few of my friends have seen it and really love it. And I know people have recommended it to me on live streams before. I just need to find the time. I'll get Andor out the way, and then it's a case of choosing the next thing. I want to do a review on Cyberpunk Edge Runners as well because I've just watched that recently. Really liked it. It was good. So there's that. But yeah, there's definitely room for me to do more stuff like this. So Mr. Robot could be a prospect, I would say. What's the next one? Yeah, people saying Mr. Robot is best in season one. Mr. Robot's amazing. Please play God of War Ragnarok. Well, I've got it ordered. I wanted to play the end of Days Gone because I just picked that up like years after it came out because I'm an asshole that way, and I've been loving that. And I wanted to get it finished before I started God of War Ragnarok, but I'm pretty much done now. So I ordered it today, as a matter of fact, and it should get here tomorrow, I guess. So I can play it then. I'll stream a bit of it. If people are interested, they can see me play it and probably get killed quite a bit. And then play it through to the end and give a review. So Mauler, I know, has played it and loved it, um, and he's kind of interested to hear what I think as well. So yeah, basically, if the ending doesn't make me cry, then it's not succeeded. So we'll see. What? There's a secret ending to Days Gone. Well, now you have my attention. I don't know if there's like yeah, I don't know if there's a branching storyline in it or whatever. Like the decisions I've made will influence the ending. We'll wait and see. I've tried to do the best I can. Yeah, but like the world that it's created is really good. It's a pretty big open world that you get to explore. It's an interesting one to explore. I like the characters. I like the acting. Deacon's a little bit inconsistent between like in game and cutscenes, but the voice actor does a good job. I'll say that. Oh yeah, I heard about this. Established titles is apparently a bit of a scam. I've heard a little bit about this. I know the quartering has cut ties with them. They approached me like many times about doing you know paid promotions and stuff, and yeah, my answer is usually the same. It's just like I don't do that kind of stuff on my channel. Like it pisses me off when I see, I just want to see someone get to the point and, it's like, oh, you've got to sit through another minute of fucking awkward stilted promotion for something. And generally I've tried to avoid it, and yeah, I don't want to subject my subscribers to that. I would rather just get to the point of what I'm saying and crack on with that. But hey, people do things different ways. And yeah, I think they ran out of space or something for actually selling people plots of land on this estate, so they were just like making it up. I always assumed it was kind of a joke anyway. Like it was like when you buy like an acre of land on the moon or something. It's not real. It's just one of those fun little things you can give to someone for their birthday or whatever. But yeah, I feel good at least that I've never promoted it myself, so I avoided that one. What's the next one? Would you rather play Detroit Become Human over Last of Us 2? Yeah, I would actually. I enjoyed Detroit Become Human. I've played it through to the end and completed it, and I got a fairly good ending. I don't think I got the best one. I got one person killed just because I didn't time something particularly well. But I liked it. I thought the characters were interesting, and yeah, they were quite sympathetic. So yeah, I enjoyed that game. And like it plays with a lot of interesting ideas, I would say. And yeah, the acting and stuff, like the voice acting's really good. Yeah, I think it's good fun that. All right, give me 1 second. Yeah. Would you approve of your likeness making a cameo in my next comic book? Well, yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not getting like sodomized by a bear or something, it'd be all right, man. So yeah, go for it. Next super chat here was Luke Mason, who says, "Any Christmas movie recommends coming up next month? A Christmas Story?" Well, yeah, I did Drinker's Christmas Crackers like last year, I think it was. So there's plenty more Christmas movies I can talk about. Um, yeah, I've already covered Die Hard, so that's yeah, which is a Christmas movie, by the way. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a Muppets Christmas Carol. I really enjoy that movie. It's such a daft little thing, but I think the fact that they got Michael Caine in to do it, like, and he's really going for it and he's taking it seriously. It's just really fun. It's one of those films I could absolutely rewatch anytime and enjoy it. It's just it's one of those Christmas traditions, I guess, for me. I've always watched it. So things like that would be good to talk about, I would say. And I covered It's a Wonderful Life already, which is, yeah, one of those just perfect movies, I would say. I don't know, when you talk about setup and payoff and really earning it, think it's tough to improve upon It's a Wonderful Life, man. That movie is just perfection. Um, oh yeah, do a video on Collateral. That is a pretty good movie. Tom Cruise playing a bad guy for a change. It's nice to see. Um, Polar Express. That's a weird movie. That is really weird. The CGI is deep in the uncanny valley, and it's like Tom Hanks playing every role, which is yeah even more bonkers. Yeah, it's a strange movie, and I don't quite get the ending. Like when they got to the North Pole, and it's just this weird deserted place with all the elves have gathered in like the square, and oh man, yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on in that film. Snowpiercer. Are we talking about the TV show or the movie? Because the movie's garbage. Um, what's the next one? Yeah, yeah. Collateral was really good. I did like him in it. Um, all right. Give me 1 second here. Space Cadet says, big fan, first time super chat. Well, welcome to the super chat world, my friend. Just watched a film called Sunshine by Danny Boyle and thought it was magnificent. Curious to get your analysis on it. Yeah, I've people have asked me loads of times about Sunshine actually. Yeah, it's weird. It feels like how can I put this? It's like the aesthetics and the kind of emotional tone of 28 Days Later, but like transposed into a sci-fi movie. There's an element of like existential dread and horror, like with it, like the fact that they're flying towards the sun and like the power of it and stuff, and just like terrifying it is. When they find that deserted ship that was like the previous one that got sent there, and like the previous captain's gone insane and stuff like that. All of that stuff just plays really well into this atmosphere of like dread and foreboding. I think it's yeah, it's a really cool movie. So yeah, I like it overall. Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to analyze and like properly break down. I know that's not much of a review right now, but like yeah, overall I would recommend it as a sci-fi movie. Botep says, any chance of a review of the classic Willow? Hey, before Disney does your teddy bear analogy to my favorite childhood movie. Yeah, Willow, God. That is a film, right? I remember watching that as a kid and fucking loving it. I thought it was. I loved Val Kilmer in it. I loved Warwick Davis. You know, it was fun. It was amusing. It was kind of heartwarming. Yeah, it was just a really good fun movie. And yeah, I don't know if I was to watch it now, if I would start to pick holes in it and stuff. But I thought it was good. And yeah, the fact that they're remaking it, just leave it alone, please. I have no idea if it did well financially, though. That's the thing. I don't know if it was a success. I presume if it had been a massive success, they would have done a sequel. So I'm guessing not. But I quite liked it. Oh, what about Short Circuit? Short Circuit is great. I love it. I love both of them actually. Yeah, like it's such a neat little premise. I love the personality that they give to Johnny Five. You know how he's just like this wacky oddball. He's just like so excited to be alive, and yeah, man. Like even the second one, the bit where he gets attacked and they're like hacking away at him with axes and stuff. Like you genuinely feel really bad for him that he's like getting damaged and broken up and stuff. Um, yeah, I like I like those two movies. They're like just goofy, like fun 80s sci-fi stuff. Like bit of comedy thrown in as well. I like them. Yeah, oh Christ, that was it. No disassemble. Shit, I'm having traumatic flashbacks here. This is like when people bring up Watership Down and I just like break out into a cold sweat. And yeah, what did you think of the Russell Crowe movie Cinderella Man? I really liked it. Yeah. It was James Braddock, I think, boxer from like back in the 1930s. Yeah, a great like underdog story. you really feel for him. Like there's a scene where basically he'd started out as like a real contender, like a up and coming heavyweight fighter, and got injured, like injured his hands, like fighting, so he couldn't fight so good anymore, and just fell upon really hard times, particularly during the Great Depression. And there's a bit where he has to like literally go cap in hand amongst all his former like boxing promoters and stuff like that, and like he's so hard up for cash that he has to go begging for money, and you can see how much it's destroying him as a man to do it, but it's his only option to keep his family going. It's great performance by Russell Crowe. James Gandolfini is fantastic in it as well, and yeah, like I love the climactic fight as well because he really claws his way back from complete obscurity. The fights are good; they feel pretty like authentic and grounded. It's not like over the top theatrics or anything. It's pretty real. My only criticism, I think, it portrays Max Baer as like a real antagonist, like a real asshole. He's like rich and he's flashy and he's arrogant, and he had a reputation for killing people in the ring, because he knocked someone out and caused like a traumatic brain injury which killed them. Which, as far as I understand it, the real Max Baer was absolutely distraught at having done that, and like he ended up supporting that guy's family for the rest of their lives, like financially. Like he was so upset about it because it's every boxer's worst nightmare, like killing your opponent. But it portrays him as just like a straight up villain, which is a shame. You could have given them a bit more nuance there. But yeah, overall, I really liked it as a film. It takes a few liberties, but I think it's a good movie. Um, what's this? A drinker, a YouTuber by the name of Organized Chaos, has a habit of making videos calling you a racist and a sexist. What are your thoughts on that? I've heard about this guy. I look like someone emailed me about it, and I looked at his channel once, and it's like this dude has an absolute hate boner for me. I don't know if it's just a grift. I don't know if it's like putting my name on a video will get it a bit more attention or whatever. But man, if it's not, and if it's like he genuinely is just really mad that I exist, like damn, it's nice to live rent free in someone's head. As I shared on Twitter once, be the cause of someone else's misery. Ah, Jesus. Ah, there's some assholes out there on YouTube. I kid you not. What's the next super chat here? Um, yeah, Michael Doria, who says, any chance you might work with Eric July on a project? That would be fantastic. I mean, I know he's obviously like well invested in ISOM. So I don't know if he would want to like do outside stuff working with me or whatever, but man, that would be a real honor if we could do something like that. It's yeah, I would totally be up with collaborating with him on something. It's just a case of getting a feel for what he wants to do and what his focus would be. But I enjoyed writing my first comic book. Putting in the directions and stuff like the best way I can describe it is like when you are a comic book writer, you almost have to write a screenplay with some directions about what you want to see in each panel, what you want to see represented, and the artist can then take that and then produce their illustrations to work it into a kind of cohesive story. But it's weird as a guy who's used to writing novels, which are like 400 or 500 pages long, to then distill all that down into a comic, which is like 20 or 30 pages, and it's got to be super concise and super on point. It's not an easy thing to do, so it was an interesting little change of pace, but it was a nice challenge for me as a writer. So I always like to do new things that are a bit different and a bit more a bit more challenging for me. I don't just sit in a comfort zone for like my whole career. So yeah, it was fun. I would happily do it again. Next one is Mad About a Hatter says, Drinker, how many series can you think of that should have ended earlier than they did? If you've ever seen Supernatural, it was a 5-season arc in my opinion. What do I know? Cheers, mate. Yeah, so like when we were talking about Lost earlier, that was a probably a good example of a show that went on about 2 or 3 seasons too long. You know, they didn't have enough material to pad it out or to fill that kind of narrative arc, and so they padded it out with weird time travel stories and things like that. So yeah, they probably should have cut that short. Battlestar Galactica was getting a little bit like that towards the end, where they were stretching it a little bit. They probably could have trimmed it down by a season. Um, what else? Probably like I loved Stargate SG-1. I really did. But the point where they got to like defeating the Goa'uld and then they were fighting the Ori, I think that didn't really take. It was like they were trying to establish a new like antagonist race, and it was just too much by that point. I think they basically shot their bolt as far as like creativity went. So they probably should have just ended it before that. And yeah, what was the other one? Well, Game of Thrones is an obvious one. They had too many story threads to try and tie up. I think if anything, that probably should have had more seasons than trying to rush like one final one that was just going to like tie up everything. They had far too much going on to be able to do that. So yeah, I guess that would be my main ones. Um, Claudio Rogajan says, "What is your favorite Christopher Nolan film?" So it would probably well that one's empty. I'll go for this first. The Prestige is fantastic, and I know somewhere Maul is pricking his ears up when I'm saying that. Yeah, genuinely excellent movie. That would be one of my top ones. The Dark Knight, you know, that's tough to top that. I rewatched it recently actually, and I was like, God, when I compare this to what Marvel are producing now, this is just glorious. Genuinely great actors, giving it their all, like a mature storyline. It's so much fucking better. Um, I've got kind of a soft spot for Inception as well, and it's not the concepts are fantastic in it. I think the problem Nolan often has with his movies is they're a bit too clinical and a bit too sterile, and I think the thing that saves them a lot of the times is that he gets great actors in to play these roles, and Inception's a great example of that. You've got Tom Hardy, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, you've got Ken Watanabe, like all fantastic actors that can just make the absolute most of the material they're given. And I think that's probably what saved it a little bit. But yeah, I still consider it a really good film. Don't talk to me about Tenet though. Jesus. Um, yeah. Well, I just seeing what people are saying here. Yeah, a lot of people are liking the Prestige. Yeah. What the fuck? On a serious note, Peppa Pig or Ben and Holly? I mean, that neither one has made a huge impression on my life. I have to say, they came along a little bit too late for me. Like maybe if I was a little kid growing up in this period, it would have made a big difference. But I think in terms of my lifetime, I've probably seen more of Peppa Pig than Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. So yeah, I guess that would win it. Nid Hoger says, "Here's some spare change in hopes that you encourage you to watch Black Sails. You might want to take a break from the usual. Keep your chin up." I would absolutely watch it because I could do with something a bit different. So, yeah, there's that. And yeah, people have been wanting me to watch Dark. And oh, Christ, what was the other one? Mr. Robot. So I've got to choose. I've got to choose, chat. What do I watch next? Is it going to be Mr. Robot? Is it going to be Black Sails, or what? What do you think? I mean, it's got pirates in it, so I mean, what's not to like? Oh, someone was asking me a question here about Triple R as well. Yeah. Your thoughts on the action scenes from Triple R, how they are unique from modern Hollywood? I think they are unique in the sense that they are completely over the top. Like, they know they are, and they're absolutely playing into it. They're like, with Hollywood, you can get ridiculous CGI action scenes as well, but they try to put the veneer of realism on them. Whereas with something like this, and I guess this is just an aspect of Indian cinema, they fully embrace the ridiculousness of it because it's about being over the top. It's about being like melodramatic and like delivering crazy over the top emotional beats because that's just how their cinema expresses its ideas. There's nothing, inherently good or bad about that. It's just a different way of doing things. And I think, like, personally, I find it fascinating to watch stuff like that. It's such an insight into a different culture and just a different ethos when it comes to filmmaking. And I think you need that every once in a while. It's interesting to see how other people do things. In the same way that you go to other places, you eat like different foods and stuff, like you see different ways of life. It's all interesting stuff. It's something that you owe to yourself to experience and understand a little bit because it's good. It's good to get different points of view, I suppose. So yeah, I could totally appreciate Triple R and its action scenes, the crazy like over the top stunts and stuff. I could appreciate them for what they are. They're fun, you know. And so I was totally fine with that. Have I seen Sicario? Yes, I have, and it's good. I liked it. I like Josh Brolin in it. I liked Emily Blunt in it because how can you not like Emily Blunt? She's Emily Blunt. I mean, nice. Yeah, it's a good film though. Benicio del Toro was fantastic in it as well, and yeah, the action scenes are good. There's a great atmosphere to it. The characters are like just really interesting. They're well rounded. They're nuanced, and they've got lots of just layers of personality to them that you kind of gradually unravel. It's all good stuff. I like Sicario. Just give me 1 second while I do this. Okay, so the next question was from Slap the Console, who says, thoughts on HBO's Euphoria? Despite how far-fetched the premise is for most people, I find it to be a really compelling and entertaining show. Euphoria. I don't think I've seen that one, mate. I'm really sorry, but yeah, I can't give you any thoughts on it at the moment. I haven't seen it yet. Jack Walker says, have you ever seen any Gundam series? Nope, the only Gundam stuff I've seen is It's a Gundam on YouTube. No, I know it's got a huge following. It's not really been my thing, so I'm not too into it. Reaper857 says, I know that you primarily do movies. However, have you ever considered doing the stories for games, specifically one like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok? Yeah, I mean, I do, believe it or not, I do video game reviews. If you look here, if you look on my second channel, After Hours, there are video game reviews there. I've been threatening to do this for ages. Like I've got like a very long script that I've been working on for Horizon Forbidden West, which I liked as a game. I really enjoyed. So stuff like that I want to talk about. I will be playing Ragnarok. I'll stream some of it. I don't know how much people want to see me play it. Like, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to stream the whole fucking game because it'll be like a 20-parter or something. And some of it you just want to like focus and like enjoy it because I suppose one of the aspects of streaming when you're playing video games and streaming them out is like you have to be like in entertainment mode. Like you have to be given commentary on what you're doing and you have to be responded to super chats as you go, and that's great. It's good fun, but you have to be constantly on the ball with it. And you don't always like really appreciate what's happening in the game because you're kind of trying to like engage your audience and stuff. And so sometimes you just want to sit back and actually just let the game, wash over you like a movie experience. So yeah, I'll do a bit of both probably with Ragnarok, just so I can get a balance there. Do I acknowledge the existence of RoboCop 3? No, I'd rather not. I'd rather not. I would be fine if there was just one RoboCop. Like the second one, even was a bit. There was good moments in it. There was a good bit of satire, but it's not a patch on the original. I don't think. So yeah, I would rather forget about RoboCop 3 because God, that was goofy. Next one is Kyle McIver says, "What's your take on Backdraft?" Oh yeah, from 1991. Personally, I love it from a story aspect. Oh, and you're like me as old school games. I'm in Glasgow. Rain. Yeah, it is raining, and it often does on the west coast, especially. I'm sorry that you live there, but Backdraft. Yeah, I remember liking it. I think it was the cinematography was fantastic in it. Yeah, you had a hell of a cast in it as well. Yeah, you had like Donald Sutherland, like given like a random cameo as a pyromaniac. You had Ian Glenn. No, is it Ian Glenn? What the fuck's his name? I'm gonna have to look this one up. Give me 1 second here, because I know the actor. He was in like Hunt for Red October and stuff. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, of course it's got Kurt Russell as well. I never got to him. Yeah, so you've got Kurt Russell, William Baldwin, Robert De Niro, Donald Sutherland, Scott Glenn. That was it. I was saying Ian Glenn. It's Scott Glenn, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Nice. Yeah, hell of a cast. And yeah, I just remember that like the action sequences and stuff, like the actual pyrotechnics and stuff, were just great. Because yeah, I'm like a lot of people. I like setting things on fire. Sometimes buildings, sometimes people. You know, who knows? And it always looks fantastic. And so yeah, so to see it in a film, it's great. No, I like Backdraft. I must do a rewatch of it sometime because it's never on TV. Never. Yeah, where's the critical doggos? Well, there's one to the right here. I don't know if I can turn the camera. Hold on. Hey Lara, look, there you go. Critical doggo. Yes. All right. There's one. The other one's in the living room or something. Like he's sleeping right now, as greyhounds are wont to do. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. I won't make him move or anything. But yeah, he's normally like stretched out on the floor there, but not today. But I'll bring him back for the next one. Yeah, the dog is called Lara, indeed, named after the adventurer from the PlayStation. The other one, Smokey, that was just his greyhound racing name, so I just decided to keep that because it fit him pretty well. Is there going to be a season? She-Hulk season 2? I hope there is. I really hope there is. How many careers has She-Hulk launched, man? Honestly. Um, oh, here we go. Someone get Critical Drinker to play Final Fantasy VII for PS1. What kind of fucking chump do you take me for? I've played that and completed it. I like to think that I actually created the perfect party in Final Fantasy VII. I engineered all the materia and stuff to the point where they couldn't die, literally, because like even if they got killed, they would have final attack materia, which was Phoenix, which was like a Phoenix summon that would bring a character back to life, but then it was junctioned to all. So like even if my characters all got killed, they would all get brought back to life instantly. So as long as they didn't run out of magic points, they were invincible essentially. But yeah, I played the absolute shit out of Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite games of all time, and I'm very interested with what they're doing with the remake because I gave the remake a pretty good review, even though it was incredibly small and it's like, Christ, I don't know how many games they're going to have to make to encompass the whole story of Final Fantasy VII, but man, it's a hell of an experience seeing these scenes that you remember so well, like from your childhood, getting played out again in like next generation graphics with actual voice actors, and them actually doing a good job with all of the characters and everything. It feels good. It feels real, and yeah, I really liked it. It gave me all the feelings that I had from the original Final Fantasy VII. So yeah, I'm pleased with it so far. Um, just 1 second. Yeah. Keel Robinson TV says Kang will erase. What's this? Iron Man from history. Is that what that is? Yeah, Christ. Like Kang. That was a thing that probably shouldn't have been. But like, well, he's back apparently, and he's going to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Who's excited for that? Not me. Yeah, it's basically the Wasp and her mum with a special guest appearance by Ant-Man. I'd love to know what Paul Rudd thinks about his character basically being a side hustle in his own fucking story. Just like his entire movies have just been co-opted by other people. Yeah. Someone mentioned there as well, Kang's completely underrated or completely underwhelming compared to Thanos. Yeah, he is, because it's like, what's his intimidation factor? He's just this goofy guy in an office who's just like laughing and joking about the end of the world. It's just garbage. And Juan Oliveras says, for your information, James Cameron's 2 billion quote was a joke. Variety reports a $400 million budget, which needs an insane but attainable 1 billion to break even. I think it's gonna be more than that, because if you think about this, right, say it is, say they spent 400 million on production, okay, they're gonna spend roughly the same on promotion, because that's the general rule of thumb. Like the production budget doubled, or sorry, the production budget over itself is going to be your advertising budget. So you're up to 800 million then, and you're going to get about 50, maybe 55% of the ticket sales. The rest goes to the distributors. So you're into the realms of like 1.5, 1.6 billion to break even. Like I say, I don't know the full ins and outs of it and all the details, but that's the general rule of thumb. So they are going to need an insane box office haul to justify this film. I hope they get there. You know, I hope the film's really fucking good and it justifies it. But I don't think it's going to make it. I really don't. Spencer Bacon says, how do you feel about Doctor Who after Whittaker's regeneration? Do you think it can come back, or is it dead? I think they're going to have to really go some to win back the fans. I mean, I wasn't like a die-hard Doctor Who fan or anything to any extent, but I appreciated like the Christopher Eccleston era, the David Tennant era, sort of the Matt Smith era as well, and then I kind of tuned out after that. And like I remember it as a kid, like them doing reruns of like the Tom Baker and the John Pertwee, Doctor Who episodes, as a little kid. So it was kind of part of my upbringing. And yeah, even I was like completely turned off by the 13th Doctor. The complete just hatred of everything that had come before, the obvious pandering, the obvious agenda behind all of it. I was just done with it. I think you have to make that break sometimes in life with things like this. It's like I can carry on watching it and just watch something that objectively makes me feel shit and miserable and pissed off, or I can just like cut ties with it and just say, "No, I'm done. I'm done with you. I don't need this anymore. Don't want to watch it. I'm finished." And that's where I got to with Doctor Who. I just says, "No, I don't care about this enough to persevere with it. I'm finished." After the Timeless Children, I just said, "No, I'm done." And so, yeah, they'd have to do something pretty amazing to get me back as like a regular viewer. Like I would probably watch the David Tennant specials, but I've got no particular interest in watching the new Doctor after that. The next question was British Dragon, who says, you've seen the Wednesday Addams series on Netflix. Any thoughts? A few episodes are directed by Tim Burton and it has the musical genius of Danny Elfman. So, no, I haven't seen that. I've heard people talking about this. They seem to think it's quite good, but yeah, I don't know enough about it. Robert Barrasso says, have you ever watched Johnny Dangerously or the Gods Must Be Crazy movies? Not myself, no, mate. I don't know about them. Turanga says, one movie that I think would be prime drinker material, which I don't think you talked about, is Power of the Dog. The whole first half is The Message. What the fuck? Yeah, I've never heard of that one, I'm afraid. Power of the Dog. Damn. Um, okay. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up on my super chats here. Sorry. Damn, there's loads of them. I'll have to scroll all the way back through here. There's some interesting questions I'm seeing as well. This is great. Okay. Damn, there's so many. Oh yeah, here we go. So I finally caught up. Okay. Um, yeah. Hypno Hype says, "What's up, drinker? A question: how would you rank the Star Trek movies? Good luck with your movie. Thank you very much." And so, okay, so if I had to rank them, I'll start from best to worst. Shall I? Yeah, I think it's got to be Wrath of Khan as the best. Then I would probably go Undiscovered Country, because those two are really close. Like the more time that's passed, the more I appreciate Undiscovered Country as a fucking awesome Star Trek movie. Then probably Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Then The Voyage Home, Star Trek 4. Then I would probably go Star Trek. What was the First Contact? When you're getting into the TNG ones, then Insurrection, then Star Trek: The Motion Picture, then Star Trek: The Final Frontier, then Generations, then Nemesis, and yeah, then the J.J. Abrams ones. They can sit right at the bottom of the fucking pile. But yeah, if I was to name my favorite ones, it would be Wrath of Khan, Undiscovered Country, The Search for Spock, and probably Voyage Home. Yeah, it's all like the original crew movies. 'Cause I just think they nailed it. They did a really good job with those films. Next one is Spider-Man 1 says, "Hey Drinker, I'm trying to start with being a writer, but I have no idea how to actually begin writing. Are there any tips you would give?" I mean, not really, because I never took like creative writing classes or any of that stuff, so I kind of just taught myself. Well, you want to you want to know where you're going with your story. You want to know where it's leading to, because you don't want to just try and figure it out on the fly, or at least I don't. I like to plot my stories out in advance. And yeah, make sure it's characters like you really like, you're interested in, and you're invested in, like people that you want to know more about. Because if you want to know more about them and you're interested in them, the audience will as well. And yeah, I guess that would be my advice. Like, have a good arc in mind for where your characters are going to go. What are they going to learn in the course of this story? How's it going to change them? What kind of person are they at the start? Are they a broken person? Are they a flawed person? Are they missing something in their lives? You know, what is it that they're looking for, and what are they going to get in the course of the story that's going to bring them towards some kind of goal? That would be my, I guess, my high level suggestions for you. Um, yeah, and make sure to include diversity. Because as we all know, that's the most important aspect of any story. Next one is from no one of consequence, who says, "Completely agree about Interstellar. The whole scene with the Tesseract seemed like Nolan was grasping at straws for something to tie everything together in a satisfying way." Yeah, it really felt contrived as fuck. I don't know why they did it. Didn't like it at all. 52 Wolf says, "Do you think Sam Worthington will be able to redeem himself with Avatar 2?" I mean, unless he's like developed a different personality over the years, I don't know, man. Like he's not really a charismatic actor. And it's funny because looking back to that period of like the late 2000s, they really tried to make Sam Worthington a thing. You know, he was in Terminator Salvation. He was in Avatar. He was in Wrath of the Titans. Like they really tried to push this guy, and he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that X factor. And you know the fact that he's okay, he's buried under CGI and stuff, and like you're not going to see his face for the majority of the film. Probably helps, but yeah, he's not an interesting actor, and it's weird because Cameron's normally spot on when it comes to his casting. But hey, it's the way it goes sometimes. Man Bikes Tech says people nowadays will fork over $1 billion in tickets just for it being not shite ever since The Force Awakens. Has it come to this, dear drinker? I mean, in some ways, I think it has. You know, when people are fucking starving, they'll eat basically anything, and I think that's where you're at with entertainment as well. You know, any movie that's not garbage, suddenly they're just gonna flock to it, and maybe that's what we're gonna get with Avatar. You know, maybe it's like finally something that's not a fucking superhero film. Um, you know, maybe that's gonna be enough to pull people in. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely a case of like, you know, diminished expectations at this point. Jammer says Sunshine is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. Give it a go if you haven't yet. Not the 1973 one. Yeah, like I say, I was talking about it earlier. I've seen it. I liked it. It's an interesting film. Very different from your usual sci-fi stuff. So, yeah, I liked it. I'm just Angela says, will you continue production hell? Those are my favorites. I absolutely will, yeah. There's a few candidates in mind, so yeah, there will definitely be more production hell movies, or sorry, videos, so don't worry. Lee Woodcock says, have you seen Rogue Heroes about the start of the SAS? Pretty crazy show with almost all white men that gets made today. First two episodes are pretty good. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen it advertised a lot. I like the idea of it, and yeah, the way the SAS got like formed is just bonkers. Like this was back during World War II, and it was like if you had any crazy bastard who had an idea, it would probably get greenlit and they would give it a go, and that's kind of how the SAS came to be. But yeah, they were hardcore back in the day. I mean, they still are, but like the way this whole organization came to be was just crazy stuff. Brasive says, what's the projected production timeline for your film project? So, we are deep in the midst of like just scripting. You know, we had the script already, but obviously because we got a massive sort of budget increase, we have, you know, we've expanded the script. We've got more characters. We've got more, you know, dramatic scenes. We've got more action scenes. Like we're basically able to do so much more than we could do before. So we're expanding that out. I'm literally working on that in between doing these live streams and making videos. And then we're kind of looking at casting now as well. We've got the main actor for Drake, which is great. You know, he's a good guy. Then we've got a whole fuck ton of other characters that we have to cast. So that's going to be a fun process. And yeah, they are aiming to start the actual shooting of it in probably springtime because, you know, it's going to get filmed in Canada. Filming in the wintertime is an absolute nightmare because obviously it's, you know, the doggo's come in. Yeah, there he is. Hey, how's it going? Hey. There we go. People were asking about the other critical doggo. There he is. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so they're aiming to do the filming in the springtime when the weather's a bit better and there's more hours of daylight in particular for shooting. So that's probably when it'll happen, and then the release will be late summer or early autumn. So that's what we got so far. You know, the script that we have now, it's about 40 odd pages long. So if you think when we originally started this, it was going to be about a 15-minute short film, literally short as fuck. Now it's up to about 40 minutes. Yeah, it's a pretty decent length. So there's going to be a lot for what we've got and what's been invested in it. The next one, I'll do a few more and then finish up so that I can pass the fuck out. Cody Griffin says, hey, I was curious, did you ever watch Penny Dreadful? I did watch a couple of episodes, yeah, because it had Timothy Dalton in it, so I was always interested for that. I don't know. My lady is on a Josh Hartnett kick currently. She insists on watching all of his movies. We just watched Bunraku. That was an interesting one. I suggest you check out. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much. And that was for $50. So very much appreciated, man. Yeah, Josh Hartnett, like he just seemed to disappear. It's like he was really active in the early 2000s and then he just kind of vanished. Um, but yeah, a weird one. But yeah, I like Penny Dreadful. I like that kind of the style of it. Claudia Rogajan says 90s nostalgia has taken a hit recently. First Kevin Conroy and then Jason David Frank passes away. What is with this month and losing childhood icons? I know it fucking sucks. These things happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess the older you get, the more time passes, the more likely it is to happen. Sadly. Greenridge Security says, "Do you have a military advisor on the Ryan Drake film? If so, what can you share about their background?" So yeah, we do. We do have a few actually. One, we've had a whole bunch of like vets and stuff come forward to offer their services for like consultation and stuff, which has been awesome. Like I've forwarded that to the director. We've also got a guy in the Canadian military who's there to do like the weapons drills and stuff with the main actors because we need them to be able to be comfortable with guns and actually handle them like soldiers do, and not just be like firing from the hip and all that stupid shit. So yeah, we've got a guy in who's really fucking knowledgeable about that stuff. So he's our advisor there. But yeah, like I say, loads of people have offered their services. So yeah, we've got plenty of people on board to try and make things like room clearances, breaching buildings and stuff, like working from floor to floor, just takedowns and stuff like that. Try and make it as real as we can. It's a challenge, obviously, because you've got that conflict between how it's really done and what people expect from an action movie. So we're trying to find something that's in between. Um, what's the next one? So Casey Boyd says, yeah, Drinker, I remember super chatting you a few weeks ago asking if you'd make a comic, and you said that you someday but didn't have the time. Now you have one coming out, which I bought. Coincidence? Yeah. Basically, yeah, I couldn't say anything about it until it was ready to launch, which is annoying, I know, but when you're under NDAs and stuff like that, it's just you kind of have to play it coy, unfortunately, and that's the situation I was in. But yeah, I was working on all this stuff. Basically, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that I'm not allowed to talk about for various reasons. But eventually, it all comes to fruition, and you get to show it to people and say, "Hey, this is a thing I've been doing." And sometimes it's kind of cool, and we're quite excited about it. So I'm very lucky to be able to do that stuff, but it does mean I go through long stretches where I just have to be very tight-lipped about things and not talk too much about what I'm working on. Again, them's the breaks, but it's just fun to be involved in that stuff. JT Rocker 99 says, "Have you seen Devotion yet?" I'm afraid I haven't. No, I haven't seen Devotion. Sorry, mate. And Nick Bell says, "Hey Drinker, can I get your opinion on a few favourites of mine? Deadwood, the series, and Rome." So, yeah, I watched the occasional episode of Deadwood, and I really liked it. I liked Ian McShane in it. I liked Timothy Oliphant in it. Great performances. I thought the characters they played were really good. I thought the dialogue was nice and sharp. So that was good. Rome, I watched that from time to time. I was kind of more into Spartacus, I think, back in the day, but I remember watching a bit of Rome as well, and yeah, similar kind of aesthetic, like very violent, very graphic, lots of sex, lots of killing, all good fun, good clean family fun, and I remember liking it. um so yeah, both of those pretty good. But yeah, I think tonight, I'll probably finish up there because I know that like there's more super chats obviously that have been coming in while I've been answering these. And I will absolutely do them. I'll just do a catch up stream. I'll either do it offline and then publish it, or I'll just do it, online so everyone can see me. But I want to make sure that I give them the attention they deserve. And I'm tired tonight, and I've got I've got a bunk that's calling to me. I also need to watch a bit more of Andor, so I might call it a night there. But I want to say thank you to all you guys, for everyone who's joined me for this. It's a bit of an impromptu live stream, but I always enjoy doing these Ask the Drinker streams, because it's just a chance to like talk about whatever chat wants to talk about. If people have got questions, I can do my best to answer them instead of just me going in with my own agenda, like I'm fucking Disney or something. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it too, and thank you to my mods as always for doing their usual awesome job of keeping everything ticking over. The next time you see me, if I don't do a catch up stream before then, will be on probably Wednesday. I'm going to do an open bar on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday this week because I'm out on Thursday getting drunk. So yeah, I won't be available then, but Wednesday is probably when I'll do it. So yeah, I will catch you then otherwise. But in the meantime, that's all I've got for today. So go away now.